Thank you. I now call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:10 p.m. We'll now take a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll have our coordinator call the roll.
Mr. Dixon, Mr. Rollins.
Here.
Mr. Scrivano.
Here.
Mrs. McCulloch. Here. Mr. Siegel.
Here.
Mr. Connor.
Here.
Ms. Stanford. Here. With 6 present, 1 absent, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank Connor, who's working behind the scenes, hopefully dry, back there to produce the board's broadcast on Channel 20, Zoom, and our YouTube Live. And just a reminder to our board members, staff, and the public, please make sure you are keeping your mask on and wearing it properly over your mouth and nose, even when speaking. We have no speakers for tonight, so I will not read through the petitions and communications instructions, but I'll open it up to board member comments at this time. Are there any board member comments? Mr. Siegel.
Gotta say welcome back, everybody.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to make a comment that I've learned today that at least 2 school districts in the United States of America have been attacked today on their first day of school by a ransomware cyber attack. And our sympathies go out to those school districts because we know what that's like. So good luck. Any other board member comments? Okay, we'll move on then to the consent items on our agenda for tonight, and they include the meeting minutes of September 1st, 2020, special board meetings of 8/25 and 8/20, the high impact governance initiative recommendations, and the corrected 8/11 minutes. Payroll, accounts payable, purchase orders, contracts under 10,000, the recurring contracts of the amendment to the Earmark Custodial Services Agreement, the recurring contracts for extended day services, the recurring contract for school improvement lead partner services for 21, the recurring contract for charter-related services with School Works. Under other consent, the linking talent with opportunity for the RBC dual credit program, the Freedom of Information log as well. Is there a motion and a second to approve these consent items?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Siegel. Are there any consent items that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator then call the roll on the approval of the consent items.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Ms. Stanford.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Thank you. We are now on to the closed session consent agenda item, which we just had one. That was the HR organizational report and addendum. Is there a motion and a second to approve the closed session consent items?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Siegel. Anything that anyone wants pulled on that list, that long list? If not, I'll have the coordinator then call the roll on the approval of the closed session consent items.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Ms. Stanford.
Yes.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Thank you. We're now on to our next agenda item, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Jarrett.
Thank you, Mr. Scrivano. I do want to remind the board that at our 9/22 board meeting in 2 weeks, we are going to be starting a little bit early to spend some time on training under our new model. The team has been working very hard to prepare for our new governance model work, and we are going to actually be walking through the October 6th, 13th, and 27th agenda items. So again, it's very, very tangible. Prior Prior to that, the 3 committee chairs are going to be working closely with the chief staff liaisons to plan those agendas and finalize those. So you'll get a look prior to that. That's supposed to be done before the 19th. So please expect that as well. So we're looking very much forward to that. Also want to thank everybody on our faculty, staff, and students, parents, community members. It was a wet first day of school, and appreciate everyone's patience as we continue to work hard to make whatever adjustments need to be made, but we feel very good about the start today, and we know that there is much work to do, but we are committed to making sure that whether a student chose blended, in-person, remote, whatever the choice, that we're offering really, really high quality offerings. Thank you.
Okay, so that takes us to our action items, which include, the first one is Tooling U. This was presented by Mrs. French at our last board meeting. Is there a motion and a second to approve item 11A?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Siegel. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the approval of action item 11A, Tooling U.
Mrs. McCulloch? Yes. Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Our second action item is the approval of Thurgood Marshall's 6 through 8 math resource adoption, college prep mathematics. That was presented by Dr. Solstice. Is there a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor. Second by Mr. Rollins, I think. Yep. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the approval of action item 11B, Thurgood Marshall 6 through 8 math resource adoption.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch? The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Okay, our next 6 items are board policy revisions that were presented by Mrs. Hoadley. They are board policies 2.20, 2.265, 7.1, 7.7, 7.9, and 7.345. Are we wanting to vote on these separately or all together? All together?
Point
All right.
of order, could we do what we do with
Sure.
closed and pull one?
Okay.
No, that's a question.
Yeah, it's fine with me. Yeah.
Okay,
Do you
so
have
we
one
could
that you
say
want
do all
pulled?
of them and then pull it, right?
You have one that you want pulled?
Yes.
Which one is that?
2.20,
Okay.
or 2.220, sorry.
All right, the very first one, C. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll take a motion in a second to approve all of the board policy revisions except for 2.220.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Siegel. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the approval of the 5 board policy revisions.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford? Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch? Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Okay, I'll now take a motion and a second to approve the board policy revision for our 2.220, which is the Board of Ed board meeting procedures. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Rollins.
Second.
Second by Mr. Siegel. Questions or discussion? Mr. Connor.
Yeah, I know that there was a change made on this one that ostensibly was sort of a compromise, but the language I don't like is, I didn't like the old language, I like this one even less. Talking about closed sessions, where it says a meeting by video or audio conference essentially can happen during times of emergency declared by the governor, provided a majority of a quorum is physically present. So I'm just not in favor of that. I explained last time, I think that there are safety procedures we could put in place, but it seems to me that the capabilities of remote technology are good enough, where the issues in the past it's not that they can't happen, but I would rather have the option of really virtually the same as in open, which is the personal illness or disability, employment or district business, family or other emergency. To me, those should apply for closed, so I intend to vote no.
Any other thoughts or comments or questions? Yeah, I guess I'll just comment that, for me, I'm okay with this rewording. I think there's many sensitive topics that we cover in closed that we would not cover in open, and dealing with, confidential items, and this would allow us to still allow it on a very limited basis to allow a virtual someone electronically signing in a very few limited cases, like a pandemic.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say in reply is having the language emergency declared by the governor or the equivalent. For me, again,
Okay.
I think it's unreasonable.
Okay. And I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the approval of Board Policy 2.220, the board meeting procedure.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch? Yes. Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
No.
The motion passes with 5 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent.
Okay. We are now on to board member action steps, and I just have a couple that I've made note of. One is another reminder that you all have evaluations that you need to get back to me by the 18th of September. So put that on your calendar and don't forget. And that we will all be doing some training on the new format of the 3 standing committees, with the chairs working with the staff liaisons assigned to those committees, and we will do that training on the 22nd of this month to get ready to roll that out by the first part of October and start our new format. So, Mr. Rollins?
Do we have a time for that yet? I don't have it on my calendar.
I think it's 4:30. Is that right? 4:30 on September 22nd.
You maybe just send an e-vite out to everybody to make sure we've got it.
Something?
Mrs. Hoadley, this plastic I can't hear you through. Okay.
Yes. In addition, the board chairs do need to meet with the board liaisons in preparation for the committee of the whole, so that'll be before the 22nd. But it really is critical for you to start getting up to speed with some of the items that'll be coming towards to the committee of the whole meeting.
Good. Sure they're ready and anxious to get started. So, okay, any other business for tonight on the board floor to be discussed? If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor,
Second.
second by Mr. Siegel. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 7:23.